Let's welcome Laming Chen, Senior Vice President and International Alipay, will join us online, and David Pollack, Finance and Innovation Ecosystem Leader, Managing Partner at Unchain, will join us in person.
So you mentioned tourism and trade as two main points that Armenia could benefit from Ant Group's solutions. Could you expand on that a little more?
When people can use the payment method they generally use at home, they have more desire to purchase. They have a lot more motivation to use wallet payment method as the key primary payment method, therefore increase the sales by local merchants in Armenia or Georgia or other
countries, yeah. So the future is brighter than ever.
Doing Digital Forum 2026.
AI, digitalization, finances, blockchain, these topics are very popular today, and there are so many events dedicated to them. So what made you say yes to doing Digital Forum this year?
That's a good question, because yeah, there are all sorts of events in all shapes and sizes, but I don't really do an event unless it has a targeted return and outcome. And doing Digital Forum specifically was the Armenian aspect. So we're talking about institutional size of Armenia, the whole ecosystem of Armenia is one place. This is basically the place that makes Armenia as a market accessible. This is why I'm here. That's literally specifically why I'm here, connected with the organizers who are trying to promote Armenian business environment and these banks also for new innovation, new capital, new market entrance, and vice versa as well. And that's how I got in, because Unchain is an internationalization company. So what we're trying to do is promote the Central and Eastern Europe as a region in general, which includes, in our view, the Caucasus, plus also promote the interconnectivity within the region. So we're very much forward, we focus on supporting partnerships within the region and growth within the region for companies from the region. So let's say an Armenian company wants to access new technology, we try to help. Armenian company wants to grow to new markets, has a product, we try to help. I just spoke with a man downstairs, has a startup, great. I'm happy to help him out. This is exactly our core value, core focus. So that's the question.
So your talk at DDF 26 was called Bridging East and West Through Digital Interoperability.
Yes.
So in one sentence, what's the biggest misunderstanding or challenge between Eastern and Western digital finance worlds right now?
That is mutually exclusive. That if you adopt one standard, you're therefore also abandoning the other standard. Or if one increases, the other one decreases. That's actually fundamentally not true and not at all what we should be focusing on. A big part of actually stimulating economy and stimulating economic activity is allowing agents to connect and operate directly and seamlessly. And I can attest to this right now. I had a hard time booking a taxi to come here because it's Yandex app, which is Russian standards, and it wouldn't accept my cards, and the cash machine was broken. So literally, I just had to come over because a friend. I borrowed some money to pay the taxi guy. That's exactly issues which can be avoided in the future. And that's also where we go with this, with East and West. It's not about having an Alipay or a Visa. It's about allowing the customer to seamlessly connect to whatever payment method is efficient or just available. So it's just making that work. So the Chinese company can operate into Europe, South America, and abroad, and same thing, vice versa. That's fundamentally what it's about. So Laming Chen is from Ant Group, and that's obviously Alipay, Alibaba, a monster from China, a huge company. I mean, amazing things they've done, frankly. It's still, you would think it's the easiest thing. Just make a platform, all the companies go on, and you bring new customers. There's no Alibaba in the world. No one else will be able to replicate their model. And their Alipay as well. I remember when it was coming in, they were just fundamentally making it easier for people to do trade, right? So to go back to your question, the connection of that is what they did was actually make it easier to operate in China. And then they also went beyond that. They started focusing on support for SMEs and for cross-border trade, right? But then if you look at the region, bring it back to Armenia and Georgia, you have a new instant payment network expanding now throughout the world. well, both in Europe and abroad. And what makes it fascinating for Armenia is that the Caucasus, in a way, is operating as a corridor for Central Asia to Europe and East Asia. And that is an amazing development. That is absolutely a phenomenal development, which is going to bring benefits left, right, and center, because it will make it much simpler and easier to travel, to trade, to invest, to do all of that stuff. And it's going to be a fundamental improvement for all of us, which is exciting, really. Yeah.
What can Armenian companies learn from Alibaba, in your opinion?
Learn. I mean, not Armenians, everyone could learn from them. They are world leading in a certain particular product, right? They focused on very core values of what's good for the ecosystem, what the customer needs, and they provided services which focused on that. That is frankly what they did and what has been successful, but they have a unique advantage. They have a ridiculously huge customer base. The guy was referencing 150 million companies. It's an insane amount of size of their ecosystem, which no one else has. That's absolutely unique. Their scale is unmatched. So what we could learn from them, I think it's just the openness to grab opportunities, the openness to support whoever needs support from even anywhere in the world. Because they were smart about that. They were offering basically embedded finance for SMEs who are trying to operate in China to trade products. Now that's a very high margin business for them. They made a lot of money on that, but they were open to that concept, even though it's slightly unnatural. It isn't the local customer, it isn't the same all the time, but because they're willing to step outside of the basic parameters of local guy has a job locally, wants to buy his house locally, they were able to grab opportunities with much higher margins, with much more scalability, and they really have proven their worth in that sense, sincerely. Like, it's amazing, if you ask me. I'm a fan. I'm not even kidding, it's literally true.
Yeah, I
It's
believe
good.
that.
Yeah.
Let's go to the next question and to the topic of interoperability.
Yeah.
So, how do we even reach this interoperability goal? What steps do we need to take? What do we need to do?
Well, that might seem like a big challenge. It is conceptually, but in practice it's not at all. It is a very simple, like a few steps and keep walking along that path. The steps are, keep an open mind, don't be a jerk, keep an open mind, be open to learn. No, that's true for everyone. It's true for the regulators, it's true for the companies, it's true for everyone. Number two is connect. Because a regulator in country A, if connected to a regulator in country B, and also in country C, and they are able to talk openly and actually converse, can harmonize, can coordinate, and can make the extent of services much more seamless. And that is fundamentally also what's happening behind the scenes. They're creating a sandbox, they're working on their different kind of connection between systems. And this, yes, it's fundamentally a challenge, but let's take a European context for this to give an answer. The European Central Bank is introducing a digital euro now. Okay, the digital euro, what is that? Oh, it's a competition for banks. No, it isn't. It's basically a forced alternative payment rail so that there is a national fundamental payment rail which can be used, which is instant, and you can just do it, right? It doesn't replace others, it just creates a backup. That's fundamentally what it is. Then you have other instant payment systems. You have Wero, MBWay, RoPay, Blick. You have these other national schemes or schemes of several banks from one area. And right now there's active conversations going on of how to interlink them. And it isn't just the instantaneousness isn't the only solution. It isn't like, oh, we all need to adopt SEPA or be part of SEPA. Oh, we all need to go to stablecoins. That isn't the solution. Because they all have a different implementation when it comes to user experience, user interface, user embedding. Is it part of the standard system? Is it part of some applied app somewhere, or is it even completely offline? There are different ways of doing this, and it's about having the various standards, about lining them up next to each other, making them connect in a simple way, and allowing people to seamlessly use whatever device they want to have, whatever like gateway funnel they want to use to connect. And that would make a huge advancement for international trade, personal experience, for cost savings, for just the ease of transport, ease of travel. It's a big difference, and it's coming. It's sincerely coming. In 5 years, this will be solved.
In 5 years?
It could be in 5 years. It could literally be that fast. It could literally be that fast. The standards are there, the technology is there, the willingness is there, and they're actually starting to interlink right now, actively doing it. Georgia, the National Bank of Georgia has a whole program on this, which is great, very interesting, great initiative backed by IFC, and it's a fantastic idea, and that is also happening. I mean, we ourselves having a conference in 2 months. We're going to have a series of instant payment standards there, talking, connecting with the national banks, with the various people together, with digital euro in the background as well, and they're all together in order to converse, to connect, and to figure out how to make this better for everyone. As again, take Blick as an example. I'm going into details. I'm sure you don't know all the details, but Blick is a Polish instant payment scheme set up by the banks there. It's a phone-based system. It's a little, whatever technology it is, it has a certain process. That doesn't mean it has to be independent. It's just how do you make that connect so that I can also operate from my Spanish account, right? That's all you have to do. And if you make that workable, you make the standards workable, it shouldn't be any different than SWIFT. It shouldn't be any different than anything else. If you could send money via SWIFT, you could do an instant payment system.
Taking into account the huge number of differences between West and East today, like different standards, currencies, values, and so on, many people do not really believe that this interoperability is even possible, and they think it's just a nice dream.
They can wait and see. The rest of us are going to do it. Like, it's no problem to me if they don't believe it. It isn't important if they believe it or not, because it doesn't depend on their belief. It depends on 5 people getting together and making it work, and they're doing it. I'm seeing it happen. And the more you do it, the more you want to do it, the more other people have to compete because you're given an advantage. Like, I was asked by a bank in the middle of Africa, Central Africa, for correspondent banking relationship in Europe and USD rails. Like, this is a stable coin would solve this. Connection to an instant payment system would solve that kind of connection. Yes, they have a currency issue, but again, the stable coin solves that currency conversion issue, right? There's a lot you can do, and it doesn't require moving mountains. It just requires one simple practical solution at a time. And it snowballs. And it's coming, whether we like it or not. And it's not just payments, by the way, it's more than that. And it's risk analysis, it's capital markets. Because a big thing I've seen, and I might have mentioned it, is that AI and big data are changing the way that risk analysis is happening in insurance, right? Which means that insurance products can be extended to new kinds of business packages, business loans. And with AI and embedded finance, this will happen seamlessly, meaning that corporate loans, business loans, and all different kinds of very productive capital allocation tools are starting to open up, are going to open up over the next 10, 20 years. The added value there is so much bigger than the payment cost that payments are just going to be an afterthought in a few years.